Just trying to get live now. Let's see here. Bear with me, guys. Just trying to get everything up and running. TikTok Live. Alright, I think we're good on all channels. Bear with me here. Alright, so tonight's going to be all about leash walking. So please feel free, join in. Welcome to the chat. My name is Jack. I am a behavior specialist that focuses on reward-based training. And so tonight we're going to talk about leash walking. There's a few clients that I had that we're going to be jumping on, asking some questions as well. So if they do, or if you have questions, please don't hesitate and reach out. Bear with me, I got to answer some stuff here. If I can figure it out. Close that down. I'm trying to run 4 platforms here, so it's taking me a second. What's going on here? And sorry for the Instagram green screen's not working, but that's okay. All right, let's connect this one. We're not going to worry about it, I guess. When you don't know what you're doing when it comes to social media, should we just start? Might be up and running. I have no idea. Either way. Welcome to the chat. We're going to be starting in a second here. Just trying to get everything organized. Okay. I think I got it. I think I got all of them under control here. What a gong show. All right, welcome to the chat. So tonight we're going to be talking about leash training. One of the big things with leash training is it can be definitely overwhelming for you, your dog, and everyone involved. Getting your dog out, depending on the severity. If it's an aggressive dog, reactive dog, we'll try to cover all of this. The big thing when it comes to leash training is understanding why. Hey, how's it going? Understanding why the pulling or the behavior is happening in the first place. Not sure what you meant by that, but welcome to the chat. By all means, if you have questions, my name is Jack. I am a reward-based trainer that focuses on positive reinforcement, and I specialize in rescue rehabilitation. If you have questions, please don't hesitate, ask away. I will try to answer accordingly. So when it comes to leash training, the first thing I ask is, where do we lose our dog? Is it when you first get outside? Is it when you're seeing another dog or an animal or a person? Finding out the why is, or finding out what the object is that your dog is overwhelmed with, is going to be your first step. You want to make sure that at any given time you not have control of the situation, but you're understanding with information about what's going on with your dog. This is probably the most important thing that you can do out of all of this, is making sure that you're understanding what's going on with your dog. So where I start is, if you were joining in yesterday's chat, we talked a lot about doing the cues and markers. For anyone who's new here, a cue and a marker is like saying a command and then rewarding the behavior once it happens, such as saying touch. I use touch all the time. Put my hand down, excuse me, as soon as the dog touches their nose on my hand, I say yes and give a reward. The cue is saying touch. The marker itself is the yes. You can use yes if you want. You can use the clicker if you really want to. The choice is really yours on what you choose to do. The big thing with that is that being consistent. You want to be consistent with your marker, and you want to be accurate. You don't want to be saying yes 5 minutes later. You don't want to be clicking 5 minutes later. You want to be ensuring that when they do the right behavior, you're saying yes right away and marking it. That's where I start with my leash training. If I was to give any advice, it would be, hey, how you doing tonight? My name is Jack. If you have questions, please don't hesitate. Tonight we're talking about leash training. So first thing, get that yes marker. Get that that positive reinforcement going. Help your dog understand what you're trying to accomplish. So once you have that, where you say yes, your dog understands what's going on. They understand, hey, this means I did something right. Then you can not only start training your dog more effectively, but then you can start capturing more moments. You can start, sorry buddy, I can't see what you're saying. It's evening for us, so I'm not sure where you're living, but it's definitely not morning here. It's like 8:30 at night. So where are you coming from? And sorry, I'm just changing this. I'm plugging my phone in. Okay. So with the leash reactivity, once we have that marker, once we have the system in play that we're using a reward system like yes or clicker or whatever the case may be, then we can start utilizing those tools outside. Now, when you're doing leash work, especially when it comes time for leash work, you want to make sure that it's not about getting your dog to point A and point B and saying, no, we have to go for this walk, we have to do X, Y, Z. It's about understanding where your dog's mindset is at the time. Most times when people are getting lost with their dog, most times it's right at the beginning. And so a lot of times I have problems with dogs. They get amped up, or a lot of times my clients will say, Jack, I can't even get the leash on the dog. They'll say the dog runs away, or the dog gets super excited, jumps all over them, all of that good stuff. If that's happening, then we want to desensitize. Now with desensitization, what we're doing with desensitization is we're breaking down the thought process. Why we do that is because we want to break down the excitement. And if every time I set my dog up for um, put the leash on, they're amped up or chasing them around, now we've just created an association and it's really not getting us any further ahead. So we want to make sure that at the beginning stages, you're always desensitizing. Bear with me. Do you have any dogs, my friend? You feel free. Ask me any question you want about your dog. I'll try to help out the best I can. When it comes to breaking down to desensitization, bear with me for a second. I'm just trying to get this back in order here. When we're trying to do desensitization, what we're essentially trying to do is we're trying to stop your dog from reacting in a negative way. If your dog is getting amped up and getting to a 7 out of 10 before you even get outside, you don't got much room left to go before your dog is overwhelmed. This is why it's so important with desensitization to take your time with it. Everything your dog is asking you or giving you is a, bear with me, this guy here, I'm not sure what's going on, but I gotta block somebody, I apologize. Sorry for that. You can't judge who comes on the stream, I guess. So with desensitizing, I'm really watching what my dog is doing. If I see my dog is getting amped up, I'm going to shut it down. So when I do desensitization, I might grab a leash or a harness, and I might even just grab it and put it in my hands. If the dog starts getting worked up or amped up, I'm simply just going to go and put it on the table, give it 5 or 10 minutes, and then put it away again. You don't want to be reacting. You want to be nice and calm, and you don't want to be essentially overstimulating. The key on desensitization is don't always take your dog out when you're trying to do desensitization. What I mean by that is a lot of people fall into this trap where they'll grab the leash and they'll wait for 5 minutes and then they'll take their dog outside. All you've done is made your dog stress out for 5 minutes, and now you're putting the leash on and taking the dog outside when they're already stressed out. So I would say when you desensitize, break it apart. Welcome to the chat, guys. If you have any questions, my name is Jack. I am a reward-based trainer that focuses on rescue rehabilitation. When you're essentially desensitizing, you're changing it up. You're putting the leash on, taking it off. Put it on, taking it off. What this does is it makes your dog kind of level out. Instead of being going to an 8 or a 9, they start cooling off a little bit because they think, okay, well, I might not go outside, so it's not so bad. That would be the first step that I would recommend when it comes time for desensitizing the leash. Whether that be the leash, the harness, you'll figure out real quick where your dog is falling apart, where they're getting the most anxious, just by reading their body language a little bit. If they're running and trying to play, most times what's happening is they're just overwhelmed, and they're not trying to be rude to say I'm overwhelmed. They're just freaking out and trying to play. That's a very common, especially for puppies. They'll start nibbling on your hand. They'll start running away. All that signs point towards a dog who's nervous. So with that, just make sure that you're taking your time on it. And if there's any questions, please don't hesitate. Ask away, because I'm just rambling on here. Yeah, we're working right now on talking about leash work tonight. Sorry, I have a few chats going on right now. All about leash work. With the leash work, what we're trying to fixate on is getting onto the right step and not getting overwhelmed with our dog. This is going to be the most important part, is understanding that the walk is not just about you or your dog. It's about both of you. You guys got to both enjoy the moment. And so if my dog is freaking out and I know that as soon as I step out on the front step, my dog starts to get all amped up, then I'm not going to keep walking, because if I keep walking, all that's really doing is it's essentially escalating a situation that can be avoided, really. Because if your dog's already at 8 out of 10, all that's happening now is your dog's just going to get more and more amped up. Now we see a dog from a distance and they're freaking out. Why? Well, they are already an 8 out of 10 before you even got outside. So it's important that you're reading your dog's body language just to know where they're really standing. If they're overwhelmed, take a break. Don't be afraid to go in the house and take a break and start over again in 30 seconds to a minute. The whole premise of it is you're watching how you're doing. How's it going, Susan? Um, Watching how your dog's body's reacting. And what I tend to do a lot of is that desensitization. It's not just about the leash, it's about the whole process. If my dog is reactive at a dog park, they're reactive on the leash. They know every day when they're walking where you're going to start falling apart, because most of my clients will say, "Oh, Jack, if we go around to this corner, there's going to be this dog, just whatever, and the dog's going to be freaking out." So you have a fearful puppy, let's chat about it. What's going on with your pup? Right now we're talking about leash reactivity, but I'll jump back and forth for everything. Um, with that leash reactivity, it's not about distance, it's about time. If you have 45 minutes, and this is one thing that gets a lot of my clients, they'll say, Jack, I only got 30 minutes in the morning. Great. If you only got 30 minutes, then use that 30 minutes. Don't worry about distance, worry about time. 15 minutes of getting your dog outside. If you have to turn around and come back inside, so be it. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I'm worried more about where their mindset is versus how far we're getting. Because, in my opinion, and a lot of professionals' opinions, it's not about getting just the exercise, it's the mental stimulation. That means so much more to a lot of dogs. You get them to be nice and calm when they start working their brain a little bit. Welcome, guys. My name is Jack. I am a positive reinforcement trainer, and I focus on rescue rehabilitation. How long have you had her for? Is it? And how old is the puppy? I assume the leash, everything, and this will kind of play into the desensitizing. So on the other chat groups, someone has a fearful puppy who's afraid to approach dogs and afraid of the car. She's a rescue. She's 3 to 4 weeks old, or 3 to 4 months. Almost 4 months. Okay. Okay. So rescue. If you get any information about that rescue, perfect. Most times we don't have information. That's the unfortunate part. Okay, that's perfect. So you had her for quite a bit of time. I mean, enough time that she can build up, which is great for us. Okay, she was fostered. So you had her for some time. Have you done any positive training at all, or any sort of reward-based training? It's important that why I asked that question is because with the training itself, it was it's so important. And guys, welcome to the chat. We're talking about leash reactivity. We're talking about a foster dog who's got a little bit of fear. We're going through all of it. If you have questions about your dog, chime right in. I forgot to bring my water, so I'm only drinking pops. I do apologize. Um, I would say in that beginning stages with a foster, once you build up that that relationship, hopefully you're doing positive reinforcement. That, in my opinion, is the most effective. We don't get mad at dogs for making mistakes because they're doing their best. It's no different than my 5-year-old. I have a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old. They're doing their very best. They're never trying to be bad children. They're just doing their best. So getting mad at them is doesn't get anywhere. Getting mad at your dog doesn't do anything effective. It might feel good at the time. Never feels good at the time, really, because what ends up happening, you get more ticked off because your dog doesn't understand why you're pissed off. So when it comes to positive reinforcement, I always say the first thing I get most of my clients to work on is the touch. So again, for anyone who's just joining, touch. I put my hand down, touch. They touch their nose on my hand. Yes, I give a reward. I use yes. That's my shtick. I use yes. Some people say focus on their nose. There's a list of things that people do. I do touch to start. That's my go-to. What we're trying to essentially accomplish is we're trying to get a base foundation, not only to learn a command like touch, which is going to save us in the long run for walking, it's going to redirect, all that good stuff, but then that yes, it's got to be quick, it's got to be sharp. You can't be good girl. I've talked about this time and time again. By the time your dog gets to that girl part, they've forgotten what you're talking about. So do that yes, nice and quick. If you want to get a clicker, even better. And that's going to be the foundation first off that you're going to want to be doing with your pup. You're going to want to get them to have a positive association in the house where there's no stimulus. A reason being for that is if you're trying to train your dog, what's going to happen if you get outside and see another dog and you're trying to say touch or anything like that, and your dog really doesn't, or your puppy doesn't really understand what that means yet, or doesn't have enough positive associations with it, what ends up happening is your dog just blows past your marker and your cues. Thinking about a clicker is no different than the yes. A lot of people like the clicker better because it's a consistent click, click, click no matter what happens. You can't change your tone. So a lot of people like using the clicker because it's a consistent sound. So you're more than welcome to use that. I encourage anyone, clicker, say yes. Some people go, they make a sound, whatever you prefer to do, just as long as you have that precision of giving the marker. And once you have that at the beginning, and welcome guys, welcome to the chat. I'll keep repeating it. I'm Jack. I'm a behavior specialist that focuses on reward-based training, and my specialty is rescue rehabilitation. So this is kind of where we're talking about. What I would be doing there is first do the touch. Get that touch perfect with no stimulus. In the house, just sitting around the house, watching Golden Girls or whatever you're into. I love Golden Girls. And then do the touch, 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 touch. Do that 1,000 times if you have to. The premise of this is that you want to create such a positive association that when it comes time for the stimulus or the trauma, depending on what's going on with the dog, what ends up happening is they're focused so much more on the touch than they are on the dog. So you're getting outside on the leash, which we'll go back to the leash work in a second, but you get her on that leash and you're outside. As soon as you see that dog, I'd be bringing out the touch. Don't wait for the reaction. Don't wait for her to freak out and start reacting, because as I say time and time again, when your dog is reacting, the spillover has already happened. Your dog's at a 10 out of 10. They freaked out. Now you're just cleaning up a mess. You're not actually doing anything effective. So have a treat ready and say touch. I wouldn't have the treat ready. That's a great question, and that's a big misconception a lot of people have. I wouldn't say touch with a treat, because then you are just luring with a treat, which is fine. You can lure with a treat when you're doing something like, hey, go to your bed. Here, come to your bed. Remember, your dog doesn't speak your language. And so if you have a treat, it's usually used to lure them into a spot. I would have nothing. So I come in, touch. As soon as they touch, yes, and then go grab your treat and reward. Don't have the treat out, because what ends up happening is now they're so fixated on the treat, they're not really focusing very much. So they can wait. As soon as you say yes, if you have a difficult puppy, which is very possible, and they're just not getting it, let's just say worst case scenario, they don't understand what the yes means yet. You can literally sit there with your treat pouch and go, yes, reward, yes, reward, yes, and just do that. Luring outside at night, you're losing focus. Yeah, so that's very common, especially with a dog who has a little bit of fear in there. That's very common. I'm not going to say it's not common, because it happens all the time. Guys, welcome. Samantha, welcome. Shelly, welcome. If you have questions, please don't hesitate. Ask away. I would make it, what I would do for going outside at nighttime, do you live in a building or live in a home? Like, can you go in a backyard, or do you have to go outside where there's a lot of traffic and it's pretty much chaos as soon as you step outside? Because that's going to be a big one. Excuse me. Welcome, guys. If you have questions, please don't hesitate. My name is Jack. I'm a reward-based trainer that focuses on rescue rehabilitation. Okay, so you have a big yard. That's even better. What I would be doing is I would have her on a leash. Take her on a leash, lure her out with a treat, yes, and then back inside. Don't focus on when she has to pee. That's going to be the hard part. If you only wait till she needs to pee, or you're about to go to bed, you're going to not fail at it, but you're going to feel more pressure. The problem with that is that you want to do it when you're able to have fun. And I know that sounds corny, but you want to have fun with it, because then it's exciting and your dog picks up on your vibe real quick. See, the thing about the training is that positive reinforcement is about taking away all the fears. No therapist ever sits down and talks to you and they're like, oh boy, you better be freaked out. Your life was screwed. Holy. They don't do that. They try to focus on keeping it level and keeping it professional and keeping it calm. So put your dog on the leash, go outside, come, 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 come. Yes, good girl. Bring her back inside. Come, come, come. And just in and out, reward. As soon as she goes outside, boom, reward. Yes, reward, back in the house. And just put in that constant back and forth. You'll notice that when you start doing that, it will not take very much time. I assure you, it won't take much time, especially for a puppy. I would be doing it in the daytime. If you really struggle, I would be going and putting her on the leash, going outside, yes, good girl, and making it a fun game. She runs to me after she goes because she knows she'll get a treat. Could you do that with the car? You absolutely could do that with the car. Everything that we do is desensitizing, so you absolutely could. Does she freak out when it's time to go to the car? Like, what are you saying? Do you say, hey, we're going for a ride? If so, knock off the lingo altogether. Desensitize, desensitize, desensitize. What I mean by that is if I put my, say, in what, if you didn't hear it at the beginning, if I'm putting the leash on and I know my dog, and I'll get my trusty little dog here, if I'm getting my dog on a leash and I see that she's already getting overwhelmed, I'm going to put this on and take it off after 2 minutes. The key is that you don't always take your dog out when you put the leash on. That's part of desensitizing. If she's only been in the car a few times, I would make it a good experience. I would desensitize, and this will go through with as well seeing another dog. So I would first put her in the car. If you're breaking down the car, I would imagine she's probably shaking and quivering. If she is, put her in the car. Don't even start the car. Just get in the car for a few minutes. Put some classical music on, some reggae, whatever you're really into. Nice and soft music. I guess reggae's are not really soft, but there's something about classical and reggae that really makes dogs calm down a lot. So put on some music like that, sit in there for a few minutes, take the dog out, reward, go back in the house. Do that a few times. What we're trying to do is break down that fear. First stage is get the dog in the car. Just sit there, put music on, give it a few minutes, have a book, read a book for a few minutes, depending on where you are. It's pretty damn cold where I am right now. So you don't want to be freezing. Shut it off, go back in the house. Do it again 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes after, even a couple hours after. Bring her out, maybe start the car this time. Give it 5, 10 minutes. And you're just breaking apart that time frame. So they're not so fixated on, oh my God, I'm stuck in the car, I'm going to the vet. Then your next stage would be driving around the block, nice and simple. Stopping, being nice and calm, and then shutting it down and rewarding every time. Reward after you get out of the car. Yes, good girl, big old happy, and then reward the dog. And you'll start seeing that you'll break down that behavior a lot easier because you're making it fun again, which a lot of people struggle to do because most times when they do it, they're like, oh my goodness, I got to go to the vet. I have 10 minutes. I got to go to the vet now. So you want to make sure, welcome guys, you want to make sure that you're breaking it down so it's attainable for your dog, if that makes sense. You'll be doing the same thing with the dog as well. Is she reactive when she sees a dog, or is she just terrified when she sees a dog? Is she like rolling on her back, that sort of thing, or what is she doing there? Welcome guys, my name is Jack, reward-based trainer that focuses on rescue rehabilitation. Tonight we're talking about leash reactivity and anything in between. So if you have questions, please don't hesitate. Right now Susan has a rescue that is a puppy and a little bit of fear with the car, going outside at nighttime, how seeing another dog. It's definitely one of those situations I run into very, very often. So she's fascinated but scared. She made friends with your daughter's big dog. That's perfect. Small increments, right? What I always tell people when they're seeing dogs, especially inside, I have the rule of 3 seconds. 3 seconds, they go up, they meet, 1, 2, 3, separate. This does two things. It regulates your puppy so they know, hey, it's not just um, I'm going to play time. It's not just, oh my God, I want to play. Also helps your pup because she's a bit nervous. She doesn't know what to do yet. 3 seconds is the magic time before your dog starts making decisions. I say it's like the snowball effect, right? Um, so 3 seconds, they sniff each other and then separate. Yes, give a treat, let them be on their way. Bring them back again, 3 more seconds. Yes, separate. This also teaches the other dog that you're in control and you're going to protect the older dog too. Because if the dog is older, most times they'll get a little bit upset, like, get out of here, puppy, I want nothing to do with you. So just a few small increments and then separate. The big thing is going to be just having the dog present. That's going to be a big one for her, especially if she's a rescue with a little bit of trauma. Any sort of, bear with me guys, any sort of talking or joining up, any little bit of time is always perfect. You don't want to overwhelm either dog because, like a case I had today, one of the dogs very overwhelmed pretty quickly. Yeah, it comes from early trauma. Honestly, I deal with trauma almost every client I have because I focus on mostly rescues. And welcome, guys. Sorry to keep interrupting this. I just need to welcome everyone because there's a lot of people joining. If you have questions, please don't hesitate. We're talking about leash work, talking about rescues, and having a lot of fun with it. When it comes to my favorite kind of dog, the one that's not biting me. I work with mostly rescues. Honestly, I love every dog. Every dog has their place. Um, I don't really have a favorite. I just love them all. And that's why I do this for a living. When it comes to early trauma, it's easier to get the trauma out. It's easier to, if your dog's a few months old, it's a lot easier to control that trauma than it is if they're like 4 or 5 years old. Because most times when your dog is that old, we've already almost have scar tissue over it. And what I mean by that is everybody has something like a bad leg, whatever. I have post-concussion problems since 2016. I still wake up and go to bed every day with a headache, but I don't take medication for it because I'm just used to having it. And so when it comes to trauma in older dogs, we get used to, well, my dog's reactive with another dog, so we just go around this, and we never treat it. With a puppy, very treatable. Every dog is treatable, in my opinion, but puppies are a little bit easier to train. Welcome, guys. Again, Jack from the Dog Coach here, reward-based trainer that focuses on rescue rehabilitation. So message away if you have questions. Would love to hear from you about your dog. Do you know the history, Susan, of your dog? Like, do you know anything about the dog? I know it was being fostered, but is it a dog from, I assume, Canadian? Are you in Ontario? What province are you from? Do you know where your dog is actually from? Because that will answer a little bit more for me. Not that there's anything wrong with Manitoba. Okay. Well, no better time to get a dog than now. Just do a lot of research. If you have a cat, don't just get a dog and be like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Do a little bit of research. Find the perfect dog. You want to do rescues, of course, but whatever is your choice, you can have a lot of fun with it. So when it's from Manitoba, there's different spots. Could be definitely. Was it a street dog? She was born there, and mom was quite unwell. Okay, that. So the dog's probably fending for themselves. And you have a Basset Hound, Noah from Quebec. That's amazing. Is your Basset Hound a rescue or just found from a breeder? The mom was owned by someone. Okay. I, even the way I look at it with training, even psychologists with humans now will say that we don't want to keep reliving the past. If we know we have triggers, then we use those triggers and move past them. And so if there's reactivity with dogs, most times it's nervousness. They don't know their place, they're timid, especially at a young age. What I'd be focusing on again is finding out where you're losing your dog. You want to look, and the way I look at it is start off from a distance. Start off from 30 feet away, 50 feet away. As soon as you see that dog, bring out that touch again. Again, the touch is going to be information. It's not just about saying touch and treat. It's about, okay, I'm 30 feet away and I'm doing touch and your dog is listening to you and touching. Perfect. That means we're on the right track. If we get 10 feet away and you're saying touch and the dog, she's like, I don't know what to do. That's giving me information to say, hey, my dog is overwhelmed. We got to move further back, because it really is as simple as you're either too far or too close to the dog, right? So you'd want to be making sure that you're using that treat and that touch as information, and that's really going to solve that puzzle. Finding out what your dog is doing, especially if your dog is excited, depending on the body language. If your dog's like bending down and like trying to get into the pose to play, or they're like guarded, you see the whale eyes and the looking down, the ears are down, it makes a big difference, right? So I would say look at your dog's body language, and if you could, get your daughter's dog on a leash and practice with your daughter's dog, a dog that already knows her, so then it's comfortable. You don't have to worry about a stranger saying, yeah, yeah, my dog is fine, and the dog's not fine. Because unfortunately, in this world, in my career, I will tell you more times than enough, I have leash reactivity, and most times it's caused by, oh, my dog is fine, and then they start greeting each other, and then that dog flips out. Oh, they've never done that before. They've always done it, just you weren't paying attention. So I would say do it with a dog that you can trust. Let me go back into the chat here. Sorry. Breeder, Noah, that's awesome. Basset hounds are amazing. I love basset hounds. They're such a nice dog. They smell like crazy. So scent games is really really good for basset hounds. Uh, Rescues, they're always better. The one thing I tell people when it comes to rescues, and I'll be brutally honest, is when you get a rescue, you're not just getting, like, you're serving a good purpose. You're saving that dog's life, but you're taking on someone's debt. It's like buying a failing business. Now, a lot of people have good intentions on doing it and they succeed. Just know that it's going to take a little bit more work. No one ever gives a dog away and says, you know what, I have the best dog in the world, just can't handle it. Doesn't usually work that way. And so just know when you get a rescue, you are saving that dog's life. You're giving them a chance at something they didn't have before. It's just going to take a bit of work. You got to work for it. Hey guys, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the group. We're talking about leash reactivity tonight. If you have questions, please don't hesitate. Reach out. How you doing tonight? If you have questions. Oh, you gotta go. Golden retrievers are so great. When you're dealing with goldens, goldens are they're my favorite dog to train for practice dogs. What's the benefit to have a dog? It depends. For some people, they might not think there's any benefit. They might hate dogs, really. Are you active? Great pastime. They're great, good therapeutic dogs. Um, there's so many benefits and bonuses to having a dog. I mean, look at the group, look at the chat. Everybody loves dogs for a reason. They're loyal. They're like children, but without the talk back, right? Dogs are very beneficial to have as part of your lifestyle. They could be a lot of work, like anything, but you'll have a lot of fun if you get a dog. So with the golden retriever, what I think there is why I love golden retrievers is they're really good for being patient. They're very good at not being overwhelming with the other dogs, and so it's good for your girl, because especially if your golden retriever is really calm, then it sets up the scene so your dog can feel safe. A lot of times when you're looking at dogs, and look at your girl, what kind of dog is she? Do you know what kind of dog she is? Notice that when they're engaging, is one of the dogs turning to the side? That's a very calm demeanor that dogs will do. They'll turn to their side to de-escalate. If they see each other, and golden retrievers do this all the time, they see, oh boy, it's getting tense here. So what they'll do is they'll turn to the side and kind of say, hey, I'm just going to eat this grass over here, and I'm just going to wander around. I'm not going to pay attention to anything, because really what they're really doing is they're de-escalating. They're saying, hey, there's no threat here. So get that golden retriever and have fun with that. Get your puppy to do the touch and redirect back. That's going to be the lifesaver for you. Excuse me. Start off with the dogs you know and you can trust, and that's the important thing. I'm not against meeting strangers. I have no problems with it. The downfall to meeting strangers with a dog that you barely know, if I'm being honest, is that I'll give me 2 seconds. I'll just finish this off. Um, a lot of times, the downfall to when people is they're trying to rehabilitate their dog on their own, right? They don't go to a specialist, and that's fine. Whatever. Do whatever you think, whatever your budget can allow you to do. Amazing. The thing is that so many times I've run into people saying, I go to dog parks because my dog is reactive, and if I just expose my dog more, they're going to get calmer. And there's really two things that can happen. There's sensitization and habituation. Habituation is your dog gets used to it the more and more they get exposed to it. Sensitization is the opposite. They get worse and worse. So a lot of times when I get calls about, oh, my dog just bit another dog, I say, okay, what happened at the dog park? How did you know something happened at the dog park? Because most times people will take their dog to a dog park to try to get them to be normal or calm down, and it gets worse. So just be careful with dog parks as well. How old, Ainsley, how old is your puppy? And welcome, guys. If you have questions, please don't hesitate. Reach out. I will answer as much as I can. If you're 4 months old. So at 4 months, your dog doesn't really understand what nipping, that it hurts. They don't understand the bite inhibition. They don't understand that it means something. So what I'd be doing there, a couple things you can do. I'd be saying dog parks are not the best place to go at all. We'll talk about that more in a second. So with the nipping, what I would focus on there is give a yip maybe. I would try to ignore it first. I would try to ignore anything that is when your dog is overwhelmed. You want to regulate their emotions a bit. So they're coming up and nipping. If you can put up with ignoring it, dogs aren't like us. Like my grass, I try to make it look perfect. Every summer, I try to make it look perfect. Why? Not because it does anything. I just want it looking better than the neighbors. And that's the truth. It's wasted energy. Dogs don't waste that sort of energy. And so why I say that is that if they're nipping and biting and going on your hand, they're not going to keep doing it because it really doesn't get any further ahead. It's like, that's not getting me anywhere. It's not playing. So they generally will stop. If that doesn't work, give a yip out and stand up and walk away. This is called a negative punishment. You're taking away. You're saying, hey, I'm not dealing with this. I'm out. I'm not. And then your dog's going to say, oh my God, what happened? I thought we were having fun. So with that, that's the first stage I would do. I would do the yip, turn around, walk away. Your dog's like, oh crap, sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. If that's not working, I would try to increase. You could also redirect with a toy. So when it comes to a dog, it's kind of like when it comes to behavior, it's all about almost like your job. You're not going to take a job that does the exact same thing for $10 an hour less than the next guy. You're going to take whatever pays the most. You're always going to do whatever benefits you the most. That's just the way we are. I mean, it's smart to do that. Welcome, guys, to the chat. By the way, my name is Jack. I'm a positive reinforcement trainer that focuses on rescue rehabilitation. So when it comes to that redirection with the toy, all I'm trying to do is say, hey, look, my hand is not important, but look at this toy. This is so much more exciting. Squeak it, roll it around your puppy. They're going to get excited and go for that toy. You want to make sure that at any given time, you always have an outlet that's more exciting than your hand or your clothes. If your dog's nipping your clothes, simply put on old clothes so you don't care, because we're not going to get mad at your dog. Your dog's just doing their best. They think that's what's important, and so they think it's fun. don't give them that segue. Hopefully that makes sense what I'm saying. Sorry, I'm kind of trying to piece it together here as I have a few people messaging. Fox, how's it going? I'm not sure what you were saying or the question marks, but welcome to the chat. Ask away if you have questions about your dog. Love to hear it. So hopefully, Ainsley, I answered long-winded about your dog, and I apologize for long-winding it. Nipping is probably one of the biggest ones for puppies. Always, especially if you have a very smart dog. A shepherd is very intelligent. Shepherds are very smart. And so you want to take that energy and put it somewhere else. You don't want to be saying no, stop, off, because that leaves too much on the table. And if I'm being honest, it's like someone coming up to you and you're just like, no, what are you saying no to? And you just keep repeating, no, no. What are you saying no to? I have no idea what this means. It just leaves too much on the table. I want to be giving precision. I want to be giving exactly commands or rewards or something that's going to really redirect. And if you do a few things, like say the touch, like I always talk about doing touch, or redirect with a toy, that's going to get your dog focusing on something different. And having a shepherd, you want to be getting your dog to be using their brain. At 4 months, I believe you said, 4 months old, I wouldn't do sticks like antlers. Definitely don't do antlers, in my opinion. Antlers are really hard on a dog's teeth. There's a lot of cracked teeth. The vets will always tell me that antlers, deer antlers and stuff, too hard for a dog's teeth. But if you get like a soft dental chew or something like that, stimulate your dog's brain that way. You can take a towel, roll it up with some treats, give your dog that game where they're using their nose, getting it out, find it games. Especially with the shepherd, do a lot of find it games. That'll really help you out. Welcome, Phil. Feel free, ask me some questions. We're rolling on with a bunch of questions tonight. Susan, back to the dog park. I personally don't like dog parks. I think they do their cause. I think that um, it's a dog park can be a very dangerous place. Most of my reactivity comes from dog parks, and it really does come down to if you're going to a dog park and if you have to go there, because like I train near Toronto and I train in Toronto, so for a lot of it, people don't have any outlet for their dog. They don't have a big stretch, so they got to go to dog parks. If you go to a dog park, the one advice I give people is I say, look at your surroundings before you get there. If you see people drinking coffee, talking to their friend, and not engaging with the dog, that tells me that, hey, if something goes down, they're not paying attention to the dog. Those are the same people that say, I don't know what happened. It came out of nowhere. It didn't come out of nowhere. It came from 30 minutes ago when your dog was harassing everybody. So the key tip is look for how much the people in there are engaging with their dog. Are they watching the dog? And find a click. A lot of times there is a clicky group that you'll run into, and find that group and stay with them. Introduce yourself. Maybe go there without your dog and say, hey, you know what? Do you guys come every day? Do you come at this time? I'm having this problem. I'm having this dog, whatever, whatever. And most times, everybody loves dogs. That's why they're there. So no one's going to be like, get out of here, lady. They're going to say, yeah, no problem, no problem. In fact, they might even set up a date with you to meet on the outside. So it could be very, very beneficial. You just have to be very vocal. And unfortunately, I have the gift of gab, so I have no problem with that. But a lot of people feel intimidated by it. I mean, if your daughter's dogs goes there now, again, I would really suggest to try to stick with a click. Try to stick with if the other dogs are there, it should be a lot better. If I'm being honest, depending on how they act with other dogs, it should be fine. I have no doubt that if those dogs are calm, it's going to go very well. Um, Bear with me here. I'm just trying to close down this because I have no idea what's going on here. Something's chiming at me. We're good. Um, yeah, you could definitely go and do an involvement. At least then she's gonna trust those dogs, but get that trust built up first. I wouldn't be rushing that process. I'd build up that trust really good first, and then say, okay, now you're ready for the dog park because they. I would wait for a bit if I were you. Yeah, that's a smart move, because having your dog for a couple months is. I always tell people, like, one of the things I do is um, like for myself, I train in Toronto, which I have really only two packages I offer people. I offer a 4 lesson and a 6 lesson. I'm not too. I don't like giving a lot of choice because it's just it wastes too much time. It gets too confusing. But when I do the 6 lesson, why I promote six all the time is because I offer 1 year support, where it's like if you have questions, call me, email, text, because so much things happen in 1 year. So it's important that when you're having a rescue, that first year is so critical. It's so important. Yeah, our foster had dogs. I think it's so much stimuli in the city compared to country. Absolutely, absolutely, it is. Um, in the city, it's just so much different, right? And that's I train with a million people in the city, so there's a lot of people and a lot of stimulus right from the get go. So a lot of times when I'm training, when I'm doing leash work, I'm in the hallway most of the time. Like I'm like, hey guys, let's train in the house, in the hallway, in the lobby, because when you get outside, it's chaos. So the downfall to a foster, and it's not a knock, and I hope it doesn't sound like a knock. They're doing the very best they can with the tools they have, but most times they don't have the schooling like I would have or like any other behavior specialist, right? It's they shouldn't. They're just doing a good deed by fostering, but they don't really follow the behavior. So sometimes there could be problems, especially if there's multiple dogs. I'm not saying that happened in your situation, but I've heard a few times where the dogs got worse with the fosters because they had a few dogs in the house, and the person just didn't really understand dogs. They were just rescuing this dog. So what ended up happening is the dog just got a little bit worse because now we have these dogs bullying this puppy around, and you have to make sure that um, the foster really knows what they're talking about and really has been doing a bit of training. I think there's amazing fosters out there. I think there's so many lovely people who take on these pups and do such a phenomenal job. Sometimes with multiple dogs, though, because I get often where someone will say, "Well, Jack, my dog is reactive with other dogs," and then the rescue will come back and say, "Well, no, they had a foster, and the foster had 5 dogs. Yeah, how was the dog feeling the whole time? Was the dog reacting, and just one of the dogs snapped on the dog, and now that dog is just living in fear? Who knows, right? So you have to look at it from a very open mind, and yeah. So I think you got a bit of work in front of you. I think that if she loves people, that's amazing to have. Um, Frankie the Roddy, welcome to the chat. We're talking about leash reactivity and everything in between. She loves people. That's amazing. That's a great quality to have. Your last did not. What was your last dog? And what is it? What is your dog now? I don't even think I asked you. How you doing, Frankie? We're talking about leash reactivity, leash walking, and any questions you have. We're talking to Susan right now about. I'm doing amazing. I love doing this. So I love talking about dogs. I can talk a glass eye to sleep, so I can talk about dogs all day long. Um, I assume you have a pup. I'm guessing. I don't really look at people's. Um, but do you have any behavior issues? I guess it's Roddy, Frankie the Roddy would make sense. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but when it comes to dog training, I know what I'm talking about. I assure you. Amazing. What's been going on with your dog? What are you working on right now? We have a fearful dog that's fearful of cars and dogs. We talked a little bit about that. Um, walking, if you're doing positive reinforcement, walking can be so beneficial. Short hair, web feet, black. Oh, that's amazing. That's sounds like a beautiful dog. You have a good temperament. That's the thing. Having that lab is such a benefit for you. It's a great thing to have. Honestly, I'm so happy to hear that because labs are labs are fearful. They're very timid. Um, you're not pulling, but you have a pocket full of treats. Um, that's amazing. Honestly, Susan, you're going to have a phenomenal time with this dog. I think that you guys have a great relationship already. The fact that you're in tune with what's going on is great. Um, the one thing I tell everyone with my training, it doesn't matter if you're a client or you're not a client, it's not about winning or failing. There's no failing in this. You can't fail. It's information received and information given. So with, you know, uh, Frankie here, I'm calling you Frankie. I assume Frankie is your dog. Um, but have a pocket full of treats. That's okay to have, especially if if you have a reactive dog. And what I mean by that is that if I know my dog is going to react, I have to have a motivator. And what I tell people all the time, a lot of times when I get any kickback, it's usually there's positive reinforcement and then there's aversive. Your aversive is your shot colors, your prong colors, your yelling, your alpha, your all this good stuff. I'm not going to knock them. We're just water and oil. We're not on the same page. I'm not going to knock them. That's all I'm going to say. But anytime I get comments about treats, it's all you're bribing. Well, guess what? I'll be honest with you. My clients bribe me every time I go to their house. It's called getting paid. When you go to your job, you get bribed. And right now I have my in-laws dog. I have my in-laws over. So um, when you're getting bribed, it's more of a motivator. Am I motivated to go to work? Absolutely. Do I love my job? Is it bribery? Some can say that, but I look at it as motivation. I love what I do. I'm helping rescues. I'm getting dogs to walk properly. Not so much for my dogs right downstairs that's barking while they're playing. But nevertheless, it's all about understanding the tools you have. And so if you're using, depending where you live, this is my go-to Northern Biscuit for, I didn't look, I was supposed to look them up last night. I was talking to a gentleman last night. Treat driven, but you use small treats. Yeah, so with that, that's great. Yesterday I had the same conversation and I said I was going to do it and I forgot. I use a brand Crumps. I'll mark it in the chat. So that's what I use. I use Crumps beef liver mini trainers. Why I use Crumps? It's amazing. It's amazing to use. First off, they're made in Mississauga. I'm in Ontario, so I like a good old local brand of mine. And a small treats. If you've ever tried to break apart liver treats, they turn to dust. And then you got a bag full of dust, and that's just disgusting. So when you get that, yeah, you're going to pay more, but it's better quality and it's tiny. And oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I bet it's. We're probably experiencing the same temperature and all the rain like you are. I'm close to Toronto, so it's like ice rain right now or freezing rain. It's probably warm there though, I assume. And Susan, where are you from? Are you from Manitoba? Was it as well, or were you from in Ontario? Oh, amazing, amazing. So you got a lot of people at West. Um, so what I would be doing for Oh, you're from Ontario. That's amazing. I train dogs anywhere from Woodstock, where I live, to downtown Toronto. And so anywhere from I get in my car and it's either going to be a 30-minute drive or a 2-hour drive, depending on traffic. Some days 3 hours, but that's because I love what I do. So it doesn't ever bother me. I'll do it every day of the week and twice on Sunday, as they say. But when I'm using the treats, so I'm going to use, I got some holiday cookies here. 401. I take 401, 403. I just jump on and just tune out, put on a good podcast, or I usually like listening to podcasts when it's dog related. I listen to a lot of psychologists and stuff, so it helps me out. I would say for the Rottweiler, what I'd be doing there is have the treats with you, but if he's focusing on your treats, that's okay. If you're getting the desired outcome, don't just give treats every single time. Maybe replace it every fourth time you give him a pet. So one, two, three, then a pet. Start not rewarding all the time. Now, the question I would have is there any sort of situation that's happening with your pup, like pulling on the leash or reactivity when you see other dogs? Is there anything like that? Or is it pretty much your dog's just like, give me more treats, give me more treats? Is that kind of the way it is? Because if that's the case, that's perfectly fine. We use that tool to our advantage, essentially. And welcome, guys. Again, Jack from the Dog Coach. I focus on rescue rehabilitation and all positive reinforcement my way. Let me see here. Bear with me. I closed down something by mistake. Whoops. So yeah, so with that, yeah, welcome, guys. Feel free, ask questions away. We are talking pretty much about, let me adjust my camera, talking pretty much about rescues, and we're talking about how brutally cold it is in Winnipeg and Vancouver Island. Well, I guess Vancouver is probably not too bad right now. It's probably like pretty mild, I would guess. Winnipeg's probably going to be brutally cold, though. My goodness. I don't know anyone who says 3 degrees. That's actually pretty good. Yeah, there's no good time to have a puppy because in the middle of the summer you'd be like, oh my God, it's so hot. So you just pretty much enjoy the moment. The big thing with that is, again, enjoy the whole process. When I'm talking about leash work, I'll go back to the beginning if you're just joining. The first thing I want to do is I want to desensitize the harness. I want to desensitize the leash. Most times dogs have a bit of reactivity when it comes to the leash. And so you'll see, okay, my dog runs away, and this is obviously not a real dog, so he's perfect all the time. Dogs run away, or they're going to be try to play, and you're like, I just want to go outside. We want to make sure that I desensitize it. So I put it on, leave it on for 30 seconds, take it off. Put it on, off. The key is not to put it on and wait 5 minutes and take him outside, because all that's doing is stressing out the dog for 5 minutes, and then you're taking him outside. So de-escalate and desensitize that harness first, then put the leash on, put your boots on. If you find your dog gets overwhelmed when you put your boots on, go sit down and watch Golden Girls. I love Golden Girls. I keep using that as an example. But sit down, watch a little bit of TV, take the boots off, don't do anything. And that's going to start breaking your dog's thought process. Like, wait a second, mom got, or dad or whoever got their boots on and we're normally used to going. And I'm going to ramp, but I can't ramp myself up because we're not going. So what you're trying to do in a psychology point of view is almost like a cognitive behavioral therapy. If anyone in this group has ever had anxiety or done any sort of therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy is just breaking apart the thought process. So I go outside, if it's slippery outside, I might get into an accident in my car, I might not get found, and there's all the spirals out of control, and before you even step foot outside, you're having a panic attack. We're doing the same with our dog. We're breaking apart that thought process. So it's not just all, we're going outside. It's, okay, well, dad's got his shoes on, doesn't mean we're going outside. That's how you start getting those small wins. Then when you get outside, especially for you guys, I gotta ask, is it Frankie the Roddy? What is your name? I feel very rude for keep calling you Frankie. When it comes to you guys, what I'd be focusing on. So you are Frankie. Okay, there we go. I'll just call you Frankie. Welcome, guys. If you have questions, please don't hesitate. Reach out. Blaze is your dog. Amazing. When I'm getting them on the leash, the first thing I want to do, this is very, very important. I get them on the leash. I say absolutely nothing. So many times people do so much with their dogs. They're talking, they're negotiating. You're confusing your dog. Just let your dog be. Get your dog on a leash. As soon as the dog looks up at you, yes, mark it and reward. Dog looks around, they're pulling. This is mostly used for dogs, especially the dogs who are super excited and they're like, come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. So just wait. They're sitting there pulling. You're not yanking. I would prefer if you had a harness. Um, People should be more informed when dogs are in heat. Yes, they should. They should definitely be more cautious. There's a lot of problems, which we can talk about that very shortly. Um, I would use I would use a harness. I prefer to have a front clip one. Have the dog on a harness. Don't say anything. The dog just stops, looks back at you. Yes, I do that a few times, 3, 4 times. Get your dog to really sync up with you to say, hey, just so you know, mom, dad, whoever is, we're synced up. This is important to both of us. Then when you get outside, come to a stop. Just shut it down completely. You want to start getting the dog in the habit that when the leash goes tight, check back in with me. That's the important thing. Is most times when people start with their leash, it usually is, oh boy, and I can't really see because of the green screen. As soon as we see a dog, we start coiling and getting ready for battle. Well, that tells your dog as soon as they feel tension, there's danger around. So I want to reroute that brain and change the thought process from it being, oh boy, there's got to be tension somewhere, to as soon as the leash goes tight, check back in with dad because he's got a treat for me or he's telling me to look at me. So when I'm walking, I'll start walking and I'll randomly stop. You can practice this in your house. I would prefer if you did it in your house. Walk, come to a stop, your dog's leash goes tight, looks back at you, yes, reward. That's the beginning stages of what I do with most of my clients. Starting to walk in the house where there's no stimulation whatsoever. Why that's important is because imagine trying to drive a standard car that you've never driven before, and I'm going to take you downtown Toronto and I'm going to say, hey, all right, you're good, let's drive. Well, yeah, you can get through first and second gear, but you can't handle the craziness of the traffic around you because you're not used to it. You're not comfortable enough to shift those gears and use the signal light and all the in between. And so it's the same thing. We would never throw too much at someone at the beginning when they're just learning. So your puppy or your dog or your rescue or whoever is just learning. So start off zero stimulation. In the house, start, stop, start, stop. That's what's really going to build up your dog. Then if you have someone, family member, they can start calling the dog over, come see me, come see me, come see me. The dog starts to pull and get excited. You're just going to shut it down. Just wait. Dog's going. And the key thing that I talk about is information, which I'll say again. But you just wait. The dog looks at you. Yes, reward again. Then you're going to start seeing that your dog's going to start shaping. And every time there's stimulus, you're not overwhelming your dog. You're just giving enough stimulation where your dog focuses. Oh my God, there's dad over there. But wait, the leash has gone tight. Check back in. Yes, that's the right thing to do. And so you want to start off with very low stimulation. You don't want to get a friend to be like, oh my God, Blaze, come see me, come see me, come see me. Because then Blaze is going to be like, I want to go see, and doesn't care at all about you. You want to make sure that when you're doing it, you're doing very low stimulation and building up. The whole premise of positive reinforcement training is to build your dog up, not tear them down. So start building up slowly. Use the tools and build up. So now we have very simple stuff. Get your dog on a leash. First thing I do, dog looks up at me. Yes, reward. Say yes, use a clicker, whatever you choose. Do that 3 or 4 times. Then start walking around the house. Come to a stop. Dog looks up. Yes, reward. Then start using that tool to add stimulation. So now get a friend, a partner, whoever, to be just crouching down, using body language, just crouching down. Dog's going to get, stimulated, want to go up to them. Boom. Yeah, as soon as you be patient, they're going to look back. Yes, reward, and so on and so forth. Hopefully that long story long makes sense. Please let me know if there's questions on that. You have a harness. That's great that you have a harness. Honestly, I prefer harnesses because they don't cause any problems. But have fun with it. Get in the house, and the big thing with exposure therapy is that Look, there's a lot of tools you can use that's going to be very short term. They're going to work very, very well. I'm not going to talk about them because I don't believe in them and I don't agree with them. Science doesn't agree with it. We've kind of passed the point now of doing the abusive techniques, right? Most people, as soon as they say positive reinforcement, people are jumping all over it, regardless if they know what my credentials are. I'm fear free and a positive reward based trainer. And I do it because I believe in it. I do it because the science behind it is so important. And if you go back far enough, lobotomies were normal for people. So we're evolving just like dogs are evolving. So, yeah, a problem with trachea, that's honestly the biggest reason why I don't use harnesses or I don't use the regular collars. Flat collars, okay, the leash itself is just made for an emergency. It's not made to get your dog back or correct or do anything like that. It's made for, oh boy, something's happening. I can stop an accident because I'm a reward based trainer. But let's face it, if your dog is about to cross the street, I'm not going to, no, no, don't touch. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stop the dog from getting into an accident that's going to potentially harm them. I'm not crazy. But when you use a flat collar, if your dog's overwhelmed and you get put into that situation, why not put them in a situation where they're not going to have trachea issues? I have so many dogs with trachea issues. It's so hard. Welcome, Sonia. If you have questions, please let me know. We're talking tonight about leash work and all the in between stuff. And I've been neglecting YouTube and Facebook and even Instagram, so I apologize. There we go. But yeah, trachea problems is a very, very big thing, and I find it's more common than anything. A lot more common than I thought it would be, especially with smaller dogs. They get very fearful, they get scared, and then they start pulling and freaking out. So you always want to make sure that you're not causing too much pain or any pain at all. Sorry, as I say that, I'm checking something. You don't want to cause any pain and no pain at all. Trachea issues, yeah, born with it. How do I train my dog not to bite? Great question, Penguin. So first thing I would ask is, when is your dog biting? Is it a fear-based bite, like stay away from me, stay away from my food, I want to tear your face off, or is it puppy nipping and biting that way? How all the time? But is it like play biting or fear biting? Like don't come near me, I want to bite you, or is it like let's play and bite? Because how we would handle it's completely different. Play biting. How old's your dog? There's a couple things that I would recommend. I've talked about this a few times. So anyone who's listening probably already knows now, but it's great to know over and over again. The first thing I do is I try to do nothing at all. You try to be as boring as possible. Why? Because the thing is, when it comes to basic stimulation, right? It's like a bully. How many times do we, a bully in high school or whatever, and people are like, just ignore them because if you give them attention, it's going to keep going. It's going to persist. And so the first thing I focus on is give them nothing, absolutely nothing at all. I want to be, they go to nip, say nothing. At 1 year old, your dog now is getting more of a bully than ever. What I would say there would be I would give a yip and stand up, walk away. It's important that you don't say, oh, what are you doing? And don't chew your dog out because the more you speak, the more you're going to dilute what you're trying to get across to. Because dogs don't speak English and we don't speak dog. What ends up happening is they just read your body language and they hear you just talking away. So just out, stand up, turn around, walk away. And what that's telling your dog is it's saying, hey, this playtime is not fun. Again, dogs work with, one thing I work with a lot is called extinction. Dogs don't waste energy on things that don't matter. The analogy I use is I say my front lawn. The only reason my front lawn looks good is because I want it looking better than the neighbors. It's a waste of energy. It doesn't do anything other than look better than the neighbors. And to some people that's important, like myself. But dogs would never waste that energy. I'm coming up to you because I want attention, I want a reward, I want to play, I want security, something. And so if you start ignoring that biting, that's going to tell them that, wait a second, this isn't getting me anywhere. You can also redirect. I would go to the extinction, the yip, and walk away first, in my opinion. Some people would rather do the redirection first. The reason why I don't do redirection first, in my opinion, is because then you're falling victim to every time your dog is getting overwhelmed and wants to play, you're falling to the point where I have to drop everything and play with the dog. Dogs, it's not about pack dominant theory. It's not about being a pack leader or any of that sort of jazz that's kind of been debunked for 30 years now. It's all about antecedent behavior consequence, ABC. And so when it comes to the ABC, I see dad, antecedent, I see dad and I want to play. So my behavior is I'm going to come over and start biting. The consequence, dad's either going to get mad at me or he's going to play with me, but he's going to give me something. And so when it comes to the ABC, I'm trying to redirect that ABC. First off, I want to say, ow, that hurt. Well, I see dad, I want to play, so I'm going to come up and nip. But he just got up and he walked away. I hurt him. I can't do that. My behavior caused a consequence to just stop flat on its face. So if you change it to saying the yip and walk away, that's the first stage. If your dog gets more amped up, that's when you can redirect, get him to sit, grab a toy, and play with it. If he's going after your hand a lot, it all comes down to, in my opinion, it comes down to, and he's not trained, that's okay. You don't have to have a trained dog. You just have to be consistent and just be 3 steps ahead of your dog. Welcome, man. If you have questions, please don't hesitate. We're talking about everything here. In fact, we were supposed to talk about leash training, but we're kind of all over the place, so I love it. But yeah, I would try that. Give your dog the yip first. See if your dog calms down. If your dog calms down, great. The next stage I would do is you can try redirecting. Take a toy, make it more important. It all comes down to what's more valuable. My hand's pretty valuable because dad keeps getting freaked out and keeps getting angry at me. So this is a game to me because he keeps pushing me away. Or here's the squeaker toy. I'm not getting anything out of the biting, but that squeaker is playtime. So start off with the yip first. Trauma with Brosif. So have a rescue. She's 4, scared of other dogs and people, very reactive. And Penguin, by all means, reach out for more questions. So trauma, I'm going to go by you first. How is your dog with you and your family? And when you say reactive, has there ever been a bite history? And David, I'm going to answer your question as well. You have a rescue, 3 years old, can't get him to stop peeing in the house. Had him for 2 years. First off, do you have other animals in your house? Has she ever bitten anyone or lunged? When you say she's fearful, does she react? Does she run away? I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions only because I need to visualize what's happening. When it comes to a little bit of psychology with dogs, it's a little bit more than just saying, just do this, do that. I got to figure out and paint a picture. Okay, so David, 1 dog and 2 cats. Has your other dog ever marked anywhere on the floor? Is there any sort of dominance between the 2 of them? Is one of them not neutered? And then 2 cats. Okay, what do you clean the mess up with? Do you clean the mess up with an enzymatic formula, or are you just cleaning it up with just household bleach or household cleaner? Okay, your dog is older. I would say the beginning stages is start marking down on a piece of paper exactly when it happens. First off, get yourself an enzymatic formula. Go to, depending where you live, go to Pet Value, PetSmart if you're in Canada. Any sort of big box store will have enzymatic. Go on Amazon, you can get it from Amazon. Get yourself something that says enzymatic formula. This breaks down the acid in the urine because dogs, we smell 5 to 6 million scent receptors in our nose. Dogs have 100 to 300 million. So they smell what you're cooking for breakfast already tomorrow, right? So what I'd be doing there is cleaning it up. It breaks down the acid, and then it makes it less likely that they're going to want to pee in that one spot. That's the first stage. The second stage would be establishing a really strong routine. Take her out, take your dog out. I can't remember what you said for age. She's 3. So I would say 15, 20 minutes after she eats, after she has a big play, after she wakes up from a nap, and first thing in the morning and right before bed. Start getting used to it. Start getting used to a routine. Take her out. If she doesn't pee, take her out 5 minutes after that. Really start building up a routine so then that way you don't have mistakes. That would be my opinion. And sorry, welcome guys to the chat. My name is Jack. I am a reward-based trainer that specializes in rescue rehabilitation. It's not that you shouldn't have water out all day. Most importantly, what I'd recommend is I would recommend watching her, keep a close eye on her more importantly. I would say don't allow her to get away from you. Keep her in a small confined space, not like a tiny corner, but like have her in a smaller area so she can't just run off and go pee anywhere, or he. And so trauma, scared but isn't very socialized because of her fear. What I would say is get someone that you know that she's okay with, and start off very slow. Get someone that, and we'll talk more about this, David. I'm kind of jumping all over the place, so I apologize. Trauma. What I would do there is have a guest come over that she's okay with, but not. Don't give them the attention, right? So what I'd be doing there is the guests come in, not even looking at your dog, just throwing a few treats on the floor, not saying anything, just throwing some treats down. What we're doing here is we're giving our dog choice. The thing about dogs, especially traumatic dogs, any sort of rescue, most times they had a pretty rough upbringing, right? So what we think is love is not love for them, it's fear. A lot of people do this all the time. They'll say, Jack, I'm giving this dog everything. I'm feeding them. I'm taking them outside. I'm doing all these things. Why does this dog not respect me? And I say, well, I had a really rough childhood. There's a lot of pieces in my life that I'm missing that I don't understand. I don't understand why people are kind to people and go out of their way and buy them a gift. I don't know what that means. Like, what do I have to give you in return? Do I get to give you money for it? I don't get that kindness because of my childhood. Your dog doesn't understand the kindness you're providing. And so when you do sit down and throwing a treat from a distance, right, you're not overwhelming the dog. You're letting the dog give 100% without feeling the pressure. You're not saying an obligation, because as soon as you give an obligation to a dog, or anyone for that matter, go to your job tomorrow and look at your boss or whoever and say, hey, go do this. They're going to say, I don't think so, fella. But if you say, hey, you know what? I'm not feeling very well. Do you mind just going and doing this real quick? Depending on what it is, of course. But you want to make sure that you're giving that choice. And that's the important thing with the training. And so have your friend come over, throw some treats down, and just build up. But make sure that they're not giving your dog that attention. Let the dog settle down. Let the dog get used to being around people, and the person's not going to overwhelm them, if that makes sense. Hey Strong, great to see you again, buddy. It's we're answering all sorts of questions tonight. Chip, welcome. Feel free, ask any questions. We're talking all over the place about leash reactivity. We're talking about rescues, a lot of rescues tonight. Trauma, really, I'm going to jump on live again. I think you follow me, so thank you for the follow. Jump into live. I want to keep updated on this because I think that this is my specialty, and especially for David, you as well, because, well, all you guys can really message. This is why I do this, but I definitely want to hear more about this because having a fear base, it's so hard when you're training a dog because you want them to do great right away. And if they have never seen what that means, we have to throw from a distance. We have to build up. We have to essentially build up a rapport that you're gonna consistent behavior, gonna be okay. And that's the big thing, is building up the consistent behavior. Anxiety is a very tricky thing. Anxiety in a nutshell, I have anxiety and panic disorder. I've lived with it my whole life. What I tell people with anxiety is trying to tell yourself why the fear is real, and dogs are no different. And so you want to make sure everything you're doing is you're taking the doubt away because you're not adding stimulus and pressure. You only add stimulus when your dog knows that they can get there. Um, Welcome, guys. Lizzie, 6 lessons in-home training. Do you live in my area? Are you in Toronto? Perfect. So, what I typically charge for a 6 lesson pack is 11.95 plus tax. How I break it down is we do our 6 lessons. Each lesson's about an hour. In between the lessons, I can talk a glass eye to sleep. I want you to call, text, email as much as you want. I hear so many times from people saying, "Oh my goodness, my trainer, I seen them on Tuesday and I haven't heard anything." To me, it irks me only because if you're having problems, I don't want you to go through 2 weeks of chaos and then I show up and now we just wasted a lesson just playing catch up. So message as often as you really want to. The 6 lessons, in between the lessons, again, message as much as you want. In the lesson, with your permission, I'll actually record. A lot of times I give custom work plans, but as well, I'll record the lesson while we're doing the training. So I send you, not only do I send you information, but I'm sending you a video as well with your permission. If you need more than 6, then I do a flat fee of $100 a lesson after the 6 lessons. So it's typically, a lot of people jump all over the 6 lessons because that 1 year support and then the flat fee afterwards. Because I give 1 year support as well. So depending on how much trauma you have, I think we've talked about your dog though, right? We've talked before. So King City is a little bit further away, but I would definitely love to train you. I love what I do, so honestly, um, I don't mind. I'll drive there. We can chat. You're more than welcome to. I'm gonna put my website. Oops. I'm gonna try to put my website. There we go. You can click on that and fill out the form, and we can have a nice chat on the phone, and I can really dive deep on some of these questions and really go a little bit further, and yeah, set you up for some training. I would love to train you. Maddie's doing well with the touch. That's amazing. Honestly, most times when I'm doing the touch at the beginning, I don't even say the word touch, if I'm being honest with you. The reason being for that, again, I go back to driving a manual car. Really easy to learn how to drive a standard car. I mean, depending on who's listening, they can argue and say it's not the case, but I think it's pretty easy. But you wouldn't put me downtown Toronto on the first day. It's too much happening. And so a lot of times when you're giving a new situation with your dog, saying touch while doing it might make a little bit more intimidating or overwhelming for your dog. So what I would say is put your hand down and get fun with it. You still want to do the touch while putting your hand down, so then that way you can use it from a distance. So, but even without the verbal command, it's great. Wendy, welcome, welcome. If you have questions, and guys, if you haven't followed me, please do so. I'm going to be doing more lives. It's just a matter of getting more content on what you guys want to talk about because I am all ears. Yeah, Lizzie, by all means, I would love to have a chat on the phone uh, and then go from there. Join my fan club. Why does it do that? Let me get rid of this bloody thing. Every time I watch my replay, it does this. Join my little thing on my head. It's embarrassing as all heck, but it's all good. Oh, and Susan, thank you for the gift. Oh, thank you so much. I don't understand this whole chat thing. I uh, I do it because honestly, I was convinced by someone on my team. I hire these amazing people um, to deal with my Google Analytics and all that good stuff. And she's like, "You really got to get on and do a live. You have so much passion towards it. You need to be doing this." So she's been trying to tell me about this stuff, and I have no idea what any of it means. So she was upstairs barking. Um, Upstairs barking, and then no, you were upstairs. She was downstairs barking at the window. Called her to touch, didn't listen until you said her name. Um, that's perfect. At any time, if she's not listening when you do the touch, it's only because, again, everything in life is about um, motivator, and it's about sorry. Oh, sorry about that. Um, that's amazing that you lost weight. I still love to hear about it. I can't help you with it. I know a little bit about nutrition, but I'm a behavior specialist. But feel free to chime in on your journey because I imagine that's pretty awesome that you did so. Um, so anytime your dog is not coming, it's about value versus trauma or reactivity. So right now we have a dog barking at the window and she's freaking out. Well, I'm like, here's a treat, touch. The hell with your treat. I'm scared of this dog. What I would do there is I would go and try to get in between the door and so if I can show you with my dog, if it'll show up because of green screen. Here's the window. I would stand in front and then I would say sit or I'll do touch when the dog's focusing on me. The goal is you want to be getting the dog to focus on you. You're not getting mad. We're not going to get impatient. We're not going to yank the dog away. It's about trying to get in there as best you can and say, hey, remember me? Touch. And then she's going to touch, get her to sit, and then slowly start doing touch, 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 touch until you get her away. And then boom, upstairs you go and you have fun with it. When you're trying to do reactivity for window work, something very common that I work on, I would be focusing on if she sees a reactivity, don't wait for her to get all the way back to the window before you try to do touch again. If I know that my dog is reactive when they see someone at the window and I get her back, my first instinct is as soon as she looks back at the window, I'm going to do touch again. And I'm going to keep doing touch until she says, hell with the window. What do you got for me, Dad? That's how I know I'm actually getting through with the process. That's how I know that I'm actually giving my dog a choice and my dog's choosing to make the right choice. That's the important part. It's not about getting mad at your dog, freaking out, or any of that in between. It's about just giving your dog that choice and the option and guiding them through with a motivator to make the right choice. And when they do, you reward like crazy for it. And what will end up happening in the first stage is I see this and I want the treat. I see it and you'll see that she'll start barking and looking at you. That's perfect. A lot of people think that that's a bad thing. That's a great thing. That means that she understands. And it's, where people think it's wrong is people say, well, now she's just barking because she wants a treat. Amazing. I'm glad that she pieces that together because then I'm going to start getting her to sit before I give her the reward. Then I'm going to start getting her to sit for 30 seconds before I give her the reward. And now I've just gotten rid of the barking and the freaking out at the window, and she's going and reacting and sitting down and being patient before she gets the reaction or the reward itself. So it's about stretching as far as you can with that treat to get the reward that you're looking for. So have fun with that. I can talk a glass eye to sleep about it. So the more info, the better, because honestly, you're going to have a lot of fun with this. And welcome, guys. My name is Jack, reward-based trainer that focuses on rescue rehabilitation. And tonight we're talking about a little bit of everything, really. I had this big plan to talk about leash reactivity, and we did a bit of leash reactivity, but mostly just catching up with all these lovely people. Cinderella, great question. So what type of dog do you have? How old? Did you have the dog since? It doesn't really matter too much, but I assume it's excitement. I'm guessing it's probably like a husky or a lab. If you tried everything, usually they're the hardest to break. Not so much labs. Labs are just goofy. But what kind of dog is it? Welcome, guys. Feel free to ask some questions. My name is Jack. I focus on reward-based training and rescue rehabilitation. More hound. Oh, that throws me for a loop. So what I would do there, uh, most times when people try everything, is because they're reacting too much. And so stop reacting so much. I know that sounds easier said than done, but as I've said time and time again, uh, dogs don't waste energy like we do, right? So if you're not giving anything out of it, if you're just turning and not turn and stare at her and anything like that, it's just, no, I'm not paying attention to you. What that's going to do is it's going to teach your dog, and bear with me, my green screen's about to fall on my head. I think we're good. Um, when you give them nothing, what happens is they start saying, it's no point for me to do this. It doesn't get me anything. If that's not working, if your dog is really immature, which hounds sometimes can be, um, the next thing I would do, if it's still not working, redirect the energy, get them to sit. If you do positive reinforcement, welcome guys to the chat. Feel free, chime in with your dog related questions. Can't wait to help you. If you're doing any sort of positive reinforcement, which I hope you are, marking cues and markers, sit is the cue, yes is the marker. I would get your dog to sit. Sit, but don't mark it right away. Don't give the reward right away. Make your dog sit for 10 seconds, then 15, then 20, then 30, right? Because by the time you get to the 30 seconds, your dog has forgotten about the behavior before. Now, the problem is if you mark it too quickly. A lot of people do this at the beginning of my training. Though, dog jumps up, sits down, they reward it right away. Yes, that's what I was looking for. Then your dog thinks if I jump, 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 and sit, I get the reward. So you always want to make sure you're giving it about 30 seconds to really, really break down the I just want you to sit here and be the best dog ever. So have you tried just turning to the side and not giving anything to the dog? I'm sure you have, but specifically, have you done it where you didn't react at all? Like nothing, like they don't exist, like it's a stranger. And welcome, guys. Welcome, welcome. How's your dog respond to that when you give nothing? Because if you're doing that and they're getting amped up, well, I'll wait for you to answer on that one because that's an important question. How did your dog respond once you ignored? It's like you're not even there. So they keep jumping on you regardless. Like, how bad does it escalate? I guess if you ignore by looking and turning away, does your dog get so amped up that they grab onto you and kind of like hump you, or is it like they just keep trying and trying and trying? Because that there is going to be the important question. Well, I mean, they're all important questions, but I'm just trying to visualize what's going on. So for other people, what I would say is there's two things you can do. If it's people that live in your house, they have to follow the same rules you do. They have to make sure that they're ignoring the attention-seeking behavior. They're not getting mad, even saying off, down. The reason why people say off and down, they get used to doing it, but let's be honest, they say it 1,000 times over again. Off, 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 off. Every time you react to the dog is listening to what you're saying, and they're saying, hey, if I just keep doing this, I get a reaction. And so number one is tell your guests, do the same thing you're doing. Absolutely nothing. Give them nothing. That would be the most important. Secondly, you can have your dog on a leash. I would say get the dog on a leash, start out from a distance. They see a guest come in, they're all excited. Just calmly sit there on the leash. We're not reacting, we're not getting mad. Dog looks back at you, yes, good puppy, give a reward. Go back to ignoring, dog jump, 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 sits down, give it 10, 15 seconds. Yes, that's what I'm looking for, reward that. And start building up that way. You can't just expect it to stop out of nowhere. it'll stop very quickly as long as you build it up instead of um, what a lot of people not fail to do but struggle to do is they do step one, step two, and then move to step eight. One, two, three, four, five, right? So start off on the leash, nice and calm from a distance. Jump, 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 sits down. Yes, good puppy. Then 10 seconds, then 30 seconds, then get closer. So on and so forth. You want to build your dog up, not tear them down. That's going to be the biggest thing. Jumping up is probably something I work with damn near every dog, if I'm being honest with you. Try it out and jump on another live again and let me know because I work with jumping up quite a bit. The big thing with behavior, and I focus on behavior side of things, is why. The why. I had a client one time really put in perspective. He worked. He used to put braces on people like they needed support braces. And he said, Jack, you know the key to your life is getting ahead of the why. Everybody has a why. I have to go on a diet. Why? Because I'm a diabetic. Or I have to lose weight. Why? Because I'm overweight. Or whatever the case may be. Everyone has a why. The object's getting ahead of it. So once you figure out why is my dog jumping up? Are they not getting enough stimulation? Hounds, give a scent game. Do lots of scent games with that hound. That's awesome. Went to a few stores this weekend. Went pretty good. Amazing. Amazing. I would be keeping treats with you. Make life a lot easier for you. I would take a treat, get her to sit, teach her whatever she knows. Sit. Yes, good girl. You see someone coming and she's fixating. There's two things. There's two parts to this. Number one is the dog, but number two, which is more important, is the people. You can see someone from a mile away, the love in their eyes. They're coming up. They're going to greet your dog. Oh my God, baby, baby. And if you're training, just tell them, hey, do you mind? Don't ever say no. Telling someone no is not going to work. Say, hey, don't touch my dog. They're going to say, I don't think so. I love dogs. And they're going to make every reason why they got to touch your dog. But if you flip the script and say, hey, you know what? We're training right now. Do you mind just standing there for a second? I'm really working hard on my dog to stop jumping. As soon as you put it in the context of a question or a responsibility or a task, people will always want to do it. Everybody loves dogs for the most part. So that's where I would go to pet shops, go to little pet shops, like depending, I see a Canadian flag, I'm assuming Canadian, Ren's. I live close to Toronto. Ren's is the perfect spot to do training with your dog because with Ren's, they don't have trainers there. So you don't have a lot of dogs there. You may have some dogs, but not like a PetSmart where PetSmart has 30 dogs at any given time just barking and doing their thing. So go to somewhere like Ren's and just circles. Hey guys, I'm just training my dog right now. I'm just going to be in the corner. I do so much work with reactive dogs and I go to Ren's. Say, guys, we're just going to be in the corner here training and then get your dog used to it. That's awesome. That's awesome you did on the weekend. I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. I think it's just a matter of being consistent and yeah, have a lot of fun. Try to do as much positive reinforcement as you can. Give her those cues and markers. Let her know when she does something right. Yes, that's exactly what I'm looking for. If you want to invest in a clicker, that works well as well. Welcome, firefighter. If you have questions, we're talking about rescues and puppies and everything under the sun tonight. Welcome, guys. If you have questions, please let me know. My name is Jack. I'm a reward-based trainer that focuses on rescue rehabilitation. I keep saying this for the viewers who've been here for a while, but for people just joining, it's good to remind them what my qualifications are. Only because I focus on behavior. I don't do a lot of trick-based training, and I don't do a lot of like I had someone call me probably a couple weeks ago, and they wanted me to do service dog training. Now I've done service dog training before, but I wasn't confident or comfortable enough to be like, yeah, I'm going to certify you because that's not my qualifications. I don't certify dogs for service dog training. So I focus on the behavior side. I focus on why my dog is reacting, what do we do, where's the why, and how do we move past it. Oh, he hates other dogs. Loves people, hates dogs. Honestly, that's probably one of my top. Has there ever been a situation, and if it was it a dog park? That's my first question. Has there ever been a reaction with another dog before? I would guess so, because dogs usually only associate things. They don't just decide to hate dogs. Usually it's for a reason. So I'd love to know. So I'm gonna go back and see. How old did you say your dog is? I lost where you said how old your dog was. With dog reactivity, that's something that I deal with almost every day. And so where I start is I want to have a base. She was, yeah, I thought so. So she was jumped on by another dog, 5 years old. So where I would start, again, I'll go back to the basics. I give this to everyone. This is my go-to that I work with at the beginning is the touch marker. You can say sit. I just want you to start doing some marker training. Marker training, if anyone doesn't understand, is cues and markers. The cue is the command. The mark is as soon as your dog does it. It's a reward system that says, yes, it's exactly what I'm looking for. So get your dog to sit. Yes. Get your dog to touch your hand. Yes. Get your dog to lay in the bed. Yes. As soon as they do something you want, we say yes. You can use a clicker if you prefer. A lot of people prefer a clicker because it's a constant sound. Click, 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 and it's easier to get the cadence. But I use yes because I always got my mouth on me, and I got too much on the go. I don't want to have a clicker on me. But I will train with a clicker. I have for many, many times. I would start off. So if you're at the trailer, do you have a trailer that you go to on a regular basis? Like, have you seen this dog again? I'm sorry, I forgot to bring my water, so I'm just drinking pop, and it's nasty. Because if you're in a situation where you go to that trailer again, you see that dog, my first thing is if your dog is reactive with other dogs, what I want to do is I want to first create a base of how far I have to be before my dog doesn't react. That's where the positive reinforcement comes in. I want to do something like touch or sit or look at me or whatever you want to work with. And I want to get your dog looking at me first. If I'm at 30, 40 feet away, as soon as they see that dog, I'm going to say sit, or I'm going to say touch, or I'm going to say look at me, whatever the case may be. If the dog doesn't look at me and starts to posture up, you're just too close. Get further away, cross the road, do what you have to do, but mark it down on a piece of paper. Hey, I was 15 feet away on average. Yeah, so seasonal, different dogs every time. Um, I would assume that your dog probably um, strong. Did that make sense with the cue and marker? I brushed right past that question. Did that make sense with cues and markers? The cue essentially is just going to be your commands, your sit, your stay, your wait, your touch. And then the marker is just letting the dog know exactly that they did it at that time. The important thing is with that is that you've got to be precise about it. You can't go yes after your dog sat down for 30 seconds. You got to be on top of it. That's why it's so important. Um, so with the different dogs, it's probably similar dogs that your dog got attacked by that they're probably going to be more triggered by, and that's perfectly fine. What I would say is, um, if you find a dog that you know looks somewhat like the dog that attacked your dog, what I'd be doing is I would, as soon as you see that dog, boom, give him a cue. Sit, touch, whatever you want to do, right? The little ones, there we go. So as soon as your dog sees those small dogs, boom, give a command. Say, hey, focus back on me. Get the attention back on you. And if your dog's listening, perfect. That was 30 feet away. Take a measure, take a note in your head on where it is. You don't have to say 30 feet. You can just visualize where it is. That's going to give you a base foundation. It really comes down to simple stuff. Not simple, but simple. You're either too close or too far away. And so if I'm 30 feet away and my dog's fine and I get to 10 feet away, and all of a sudden my dog's freaking out and I can't get them to focus back on me, he's just freaking out on the little dogs, then I know I'm too close. Move further away. There's no failing in the training. This is the thing. There's no failing. It's all about understanding what's going on with your dog. Because once you truly understand, well, let's give you an example. I have anxiety and panic disorder. I've had it my whole life. I have it somewhat under control. Some days are rough, but for the most part, I have it under control because I practice my techniques. And so if I go to your house and you have, say, a snake, right, and I'm scared of snakes, if I say, hey, I'm scared of snakes, and you're like, shut up, buddy, you're 41, get over yourself, I'm not going to feel any better. I'm going to be secluded. I'm not going to feel better. But if you say, hey, you know what? The snake is caged up. It can't get out. There's a lock on it. If you want, we'll go in another room. You'll be fine. Giving me that understanding. I know that the snake's still there. I know I'm still scared of the bloody thing. But if I know that you're understanding and compassionate, even if it's not helping me, it's understanding me, if that makes sense. That's what positive reinforcement is. It's not about saying you need to comply, you need to listen to me. It's about, okay, I see you're freaking out over something, and therapeutically, I'm going to start building up exposure with you. And so you start off from 30 feet away, and then you do a few times, then go 20 feet away. And okay, still doing okay. We go to 10 feet, there's a small dog 15 feet away, looking, getting a little bit anxious. I do touch, I do sit, dog's not listening. Okay, let's scale it back to 20 feet again. And just get comfortable going from a safe distance. It's just about understanding where your dog's mindset is and not overwhelming them. Try it out, honestly. You'll have a lot of fun with it, and jump back in on another live. If you haven't followed me yet, please do so. And anyone who, I'm trying to get to 1,000, so follow away. Would love to hear more about, and thank you for the follow. I'd love to hear more about this because it's one of my big hitters, reactivity on that leash. And, you know, I'm not going to knock other trainers. I think there's a lot of phenomenal trainers out there. I think there's a lot of trainers who are doing their very best. I think that I'm not the best trainer in the world. I know there's better trainers than me. I'm pretty good. I obsess about my career. I obsess about learning the latest and greatest. I'm book after book. I grab a different book every week. I'm always in a different course and a different program because I want to be up to date with the latest and best techniques. But I think a lot of times people, and it's not so much the trainers. Sometimes it's the clients. I need this fixed today. I know my dog's been attacked by 3 dogs and they're 8 years old and they're stubborn as all hell, but I need this fixed today. And that's when you start getting the aversive techniques that, yeah, works really good short term, but doesn't create a permanent situation. My technique's about exposure therapy. I know you have an issue. Let's move past it. Let's build up. It's not about tearing down. It's about building up. And so people say it's because you get tense, and she feels that, and that's why she does it. There's a little bit of truth to that. I'm the king of analogies, and I don't get car sick. Here's a good story for you. My wife is a terrified driver. Hopefully she's not watching on any of these streams right now, but she gets really nervous when I'm in the car because I get car sick with her. And so I get car sick because she gets nervous because she's scared to get me car sick. So what happens? I get car sick. And it's like a vicious circle, right? I can read a book upside down backwards while driving with anyone, but for some reason, when I get in a car with her, because she's so nervous, it's like watching driving that Miss Daisy, you know, whatever that show was called, right? Where they're driving and they're just like this all the time. That's the way I feel she is, and I get car sick. So you don't cause the anxiety. The anxiety is caused by a bunch of dogs who attacked your dog, but you're certainly not helping it by being herky-jerky on the leash. And that's why I do exposure therapy. It's not just about training your dog and getting past your dog's emotion, but it's making sure you guys are working together to get past it. Because you're only going to be as strong as the weakest link. If you're still down here, we're up here with training, like, yeah, my dog is playing, and you get this all the time where people say, oh yeah, my dog is fine at a groomer, or my dog is fine with my partner. It happens all the time. There is a lot of validity to saying that you make your dog nervous, but you're not causing it. You're not helping it, but you didn't create it, if that makes sense. Respectfully, of course. Most importantly, that's why I tell people when you're training, move at the march or move at the beat of your drum. If you feel overwhelmed, you're of no obligation to keep walking. Why put yourself into a deficit? That's like setting yourself up for failure, not only for you, but for your dog. Have fun with it. If training isn't fun, find a trainer who's going to make it fun for you because honestly, training to me is a blast because I train some of my most reactive dogs in the third lesson. We haven't even gone outside yet, but we're falling apart because the dog is. And then we get outside, and the outside stuff's easy stuff. That's easy for me. It's because you got to learn the tools in order to use them. My whole thing is I believe in. How's it going, Grace? Welcome to the chat. I tell people all the time, Victor Wooten, if anyone listens to music, Victor Wooten is a bass player, phenomenal bass player. And he was talking about learning scales and learning chords and notes. And he said, I learned the notes and I learned the scaling so I don't have to use them. Part of learning music, and I'm sorry if anyone's heard this and I'm botching it, but part of playing music is about having fun with it. And the analogy he used was he said, you never have a toolkit that you have in your car. You keep it in the trunk. You never keep it in the front seat beside you in case something happens. You keep it in the trunk so you forget about it, but it's there if you need it. Why I do my training and how I do it and why I start in the house and I start in the hallway and I build up is because I'm teaching you so many tools that you don't need it. You know what to do when the time comes. And that's the whole thing. I would say for you specifically, I would do more training in the house. I would do more leash work in the house. Come to a stop, your dog looks up, yes, reward. Get your partner or family member to start calling your dog over softly and you just stop on the leash, your dog's pulling, comes to a stop, looks back at you, yes, reward. Start making you valuable on that walk. That's going to really improve and put you on the next level when it comes to walking, if that makes sense. As I said, guys, I can talk in class out of sleep, so I apologize ahead of time. Guys, I think we're going to have to come to a close almost. My goodness. Try it out. Honestly, it's. I think that you'll have a lot of fun with it. And it's all about how you look at it, right? We can look at it as, oh my goodness, it's trauma. We're already there. It already sucks. There's no point me telling you how bad your dog is and how bad you're doing. And oh my God, you're so nervous. People give constructive criticism all the time, but I'll be completely brutally honest with you. Psychologists have actually debunked and said that constructive criticism bears no positive outlook. Because if I say, hey, you got a really, you got a really nice car. It's probably good on fuel, but it's kind of old and it's kind of rusty. It's kind of a clunker, eh? I'm telling you it's good on gas, and I'm saying it's probably reliable, but I'm saying it's rusty. So you're only focusing on the negative. Constructive criticism, your work was really good, but you did this wrong. You're just worried about the negative. So look at the positive. Don't focus on anything but that. Have fun with it. You're already in this situation, so you might as well look at how can I affect my dog in a positive instead of the negative. Let me know how it goes. I would love to hear it. Hey Cheryl, so what kind of anxiety are you talking about? What's going on with your dog? See you later. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Sorry, I think my son's still like he's 5 years old. And my in-laws are over tonight, and so it's exciting for him. So I think he just woke up. But Cheryl, what type of dog? What do you got? Or what type of anxiety? Is it anxiety with leaving, separation anxiety that you're aware of? Okay, so how is your dog with guests? What is excuse me? Is your dog freak out when they see guests? Scared, timid, a Pomsky, perfect. Um, if I come in the door, will your dog bark? Go back and bark. If I keep walking forward, dog keeps going back, will dog come up and try to nip me? And if so, how long does it take your dog before they warm up to me? Barks like crazy, probably from a distance. I work with a lot of smaller dogs, so very, very common behavior, unfortunately. Because remember, dogs barking, small dogs like that, they were made to be a security dog, believe it or not. Takes a long time. Okay. So, a couple things. Number one, I would start building trust with people. Have someone come over and don't even look at the dog. Don't acknowledge the dog at all. Uh, he sleeps under the bed. If he's sleeping under the bed, that tells me that he's a little bit nervous. And so he's looking for a safe space. Don't be afraid to give your dog a safe place. If your dog, and it can't be in the middle of the living room, try to give your dog a safe place like a bedroom, a bathroom, maybe not a bathroom because then your guests are going to have to pee and then you have a problem. A spare room, a laundry room, doesn't matter. A nice, safe, quiet area so your dog has a place to go away. Sleeping underneath the bed just tells me that they probably choose that over the crate. They probably say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go under here because nothing can attack me. Nothing can come from the sides or the top. I'm pretty safe under here. I'm nice and tight. Ooh, third home at 8 months old. Okay, so that explains a lot more about trauma. So you have a dog who unfortunately has been gave up on. You're not going to know the history. You won't know the history because there's an age-old thing someone told me back at my last career before as a dog trainer. Buyers are liars and sellers are storytellers. When people are adopting dogs, I'm going to walk this dog every single day. Me and Fluffy are going to be the bestest of friends. And they don't walk the dog every day, and who cares? That's not the point. But then the sellers, the rescues, the whatever, oh, this dog's perfect. The dog has no history. And so you run into a situation where you're not getting the full story. We move past it. I don't want to break down what's going on with the dog for the past. We just move forward. What I'd start off doing, have some guests come over. First off, what I would do is as soon as the guest's over and they're barking, throw a treat from a distance, right? Not even looking at the dog. Ignoring the dog completely, just throwing a treat down, seeing what the dog does. If your dog's still barking, maybe give them a timeout. In fact, before you do that, actually, I want you to start getting your dog used to being in your bedroom. If under the bed means your bedroom, start getting your dog used to going in that bedroom for a safe place. Reason being for that is that your dog has to have an escape. Your dog's got to get away. And so if he doesn't have that, he's always going to feel obligated. So in your bedroom, absolutely start giving it his safe, make it a safe place. So I would be going in there, putting some random treats in there, take all of his toys, put it underneath your bed. If you don't have a crate, this is a perfect opportunity to make that a safe place. There's nothing wrong with it. But I would rather my dog feel overwhelmed and know that they can go to the bedroom than wait till someone comes here. And because you haven't done any exposure with being in the bedroom while people are here, your dog's going to freak out. Start putting your dog in the bedroom for a few minutes, right? Put him in there, give him a Kong toy with some peanut butter, freeze the peanut butter, throw it under the bed, let your dog lick at it, shut the door for 2 minutes, come in. Yes, good boy, come on out, or good girl, whatever. You want to start breaking down the time. Don't just do, okay, we did 2 minutes yesterday, we're doing 15 minutes tomorrow. That's not the way anxiety works. Anxiety is all about peaks and valleys. Start off 2 minutes, tomorrow do 30 seconds. The next day, 5 minutes, the next day, 10 seconds. Change it up so your dog's not thinking, oh my goodness, I'm stuck in this room for hours. They're thinking, who cares? Mom's going to be back soon enough. Who cares? Get them used to being comfortable in that room without you. Because then when you have guests come over, you don't have to worry about putting your dog in a bedroom if they're feeling overwhelmed and them freaking out about being in the bedroom. Now it's about, okay, this is cool. I'm overwhelmed. Here we go. I'm going to stay here. That's what my first recommendation would be. Give him a safe place, because he's telling you right away he's overwhelmed. And if we're saying, shush, stop, it's okay, enough, all we're doing is muddying the water. He doesn't understand what you're saying. All he knows is that he's overwhelmed and then you guys are getting overwhelmed. That's no problem at all. That's honestly the first stage. And then give that a real good go and tell me how it goes, because there's so many things. And like I tell everyone else, give me a follow and jump on another live and let me know how it's progressing. I would love to keep hearing more about your dog. But stage one, safe place. Stage two is going to be, thank you so much for the roses. Thank you so much. I would say the second stage is going to be probably have a guest come over. Normally, what I would do is I would give a dog a safe place first. Second, I would get them to go to, say, a place like a bed, a mat, something that they're normal, like they understand. And then I would get them pretend like I'm going to the door. I would start going to the door, pretending that I'm knocking, build up instead of tearing down. So we don't start off knocking on the door, someone's there, and surprise, here I am, because your dog's going to be overwhelmed. Start off by just going to the door. And every time your dog gets up to walk over to see who's here, guide them back to the bed. On the bed, sit, stay, yes, reward, stay, go back, open the door again. If you have to do this 10 times, who cares? You're trying to rehabilitate your dog. You're not trying to punish your dog or get angry about the process. You're trying to have fun with it. Because the more fun you have, the more calm you are. The more calm you are, the more confident you are. And once you get calmness and confidence, you're not caring about the outlook or the outcome, sorry, is what I'm trying to say. Because you're focused more on the fact of, okay, I'm going to have fun with this, and this is what it's going to do. And that's where I would start. And then start building up. First starting off, someone coming, open the door. Hey, come on in. Shut the door. So if you have PTSD, and he does, he probably does, that is a tool that you're going to use to your advantage, right? Because you know what it's like having it, and you know how overwhelming it is. So to me, I have anxiety and panic disorder. I've had it my whole life. I have what the psychologists call hyperfocus. So hyperfocus in my world is when I get a negative, like my nephew just recently passed in September from cancer. And it hit me hard, really hard. And when it's dark, it's very, very dark. Like I can't stop fixating on them. And so hyperfocus can be really, really negative. But the positive is I make it into a hyperfocus when it comes to my career. So I'm really, really, thank you. I'm really, really big on finding the answers. If there's a case that I haven't had, I start diving deep. I got to fixate on it. Use your PTSD for empathy towards him, but use it as a tool. Don't use it as a, oh my God, we're both not gonna fail at this. Because just like your PTSD, I'm not saying everything is curable, but you can get a baseline of success depending on the stages you take, and I think you can probably do the same with him. It's just a matter of breaking it down in stages. That's what I would recommend. I would say be empathetic, and you'll have a really good time with it. Hopefully that helps. Excuse me. No problem at all. I'm so happy to help. Happy to talk to everyone tonight. It's been so many people in here tonight. It's been awesome. There's so many different cases and situations. It's amazing. But that being said, guys, I'm probably going to jump off. I've been on for about 2 hours now. I'm going to be going on live. Probably check in anytime after 8 p.m. Eastern time. I typically go on, and when my 5-year-old goes to sleep, I jump on and I just answer every question you guys have. I love coming on here and answering as much as I can. But for that, I am going to jump off for tonight. And I thank you so much for being part of this, and can't wait for the next one. Thanks, guys. We'll see you in the next one.